Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum, Springfield, Illinois, January 19th, 2025. Lincoln's boyhood cabin, resembling what he lived in Lincoln City, Indiana. Sold on Fort Sumter in South Carolina, 1861.
You get too close or something?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You can tackle me now.
constitutional unity, with no specific formula for bringing peace. So there we have it. Union, popular sovereignty, states' rights, and compromise. 4 candidates in the most dangerously regional and divisive election in American history. What a mess. We'll be right back.
Back in 5, 4.
The chaos of a 4-way presidential race continues as the campaign of 1860 stumbles toward Election Day. To sort things out, let's look at the candidates' latest messages and the strategies behind their ads. Kept off the ballot in most southern states, the Republican campaign has largely bypassed the South in the belief that if Lincoln carries enough northern states, he can win in the Electoral College and take the White House without a single southern vote. Ironically, union is the theme of the latest message from Illinois Republican Abraham Lincoln.
Union. The founding fathers created it. Our forefathers shed their blood to defend it. And now one and only one man can preserve it. Abraham Lincoln. 2 years ago, he said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Isn't it time we got that house in order? Lincoln Hamlin, one nation, indivisible, forever.
Paid for by right-of-way clubs for Abe Lincoln.
A reassuring promise of national unity from a candidate campaigning only in the North. Lincoln's adversaries charge that abolition is the hidden plank in the Lincoln platform. Opponents of Northern Democrat Stephen Douglas claim his popular catchphrase is just a clever way to encourage the spread of slavery. But Douglas says his goal is to let people vote their conscience.
Washington politicians want to tell you how to live your life. They think Washington knows what's best. But there's one candidate who believes in you, Stephen A. Douglas. He believes in popular sovereignty. That means that wherever you live, you get to choose what's best for you. Stephen A. Douglas, for you.
Paid for by Little Giants for Douglas.
Douglas seemed like an easy winner for the Democrats until Southern Democrat John C. Breckinridge challenged him for the nomination and split the Democratic Party. For candidate Breckinridge, slavery is a question of property, not people.
Your grandfather started with a bare patch of earth. You've built a way of life that will last for centuries. Only now, some men you don't even know want to come in and steal your property, destroy your home, and put you in jail. To these men, our state constitutions are so much kindred. John C. Breckinridge, he'll fight for your rights, your property, your home.
Paid for by Patriots for Breckinridge.
A states' rights theme from pro-slavery candidate John Breckinridge. Another Southerner, John C. Bell, hopes to split the vote so completely the Electoral College will deadlock. That would throw the election into the House of Representatives, where Bell is quite popular and just might win.
Slavery must be abolished. Slavery is our right.
It's time for the shouting to stop. John Bell, the country needs a calm voice right now. His voice.
Paid for by Citizens for Bell.
A vague promise of harmony from constitutional unionists, but no specific formula for bringing peace. So there we have it. Union, popular sovereignty, states' rights, and compromise. 4 candidates in the most dangerously regional and divisive election in American history. What a mess. We'll be right back.
Strawberries, though? Good and put up fancy French wallpaper in the White House while our billionaires can't even get shovels. In Washington, we can have flashy things.
Hey, you know CSA stands for?
Confound stuff. He did make him till he opens his mouth. Then hate becomes the dominant emotion.
Lincoln. He's the craftiest and most dishonest politician who ever disgraced an office in American history. Lincoln is indecent, insensitive, and lustful.
Bordering on ornery. I hear Mr. Lincoln's own staff refer to Mrs. Lincoln as her satanic majesties.
He's a dictator. He rides, hates the free people of the South. Demons of Europe have no precedent in the annals of Europe. What's that to do with our government?
Illness. This disgusting room is just like neither one of those tyrants.
It's worse than Caesar himself.
If you
This is Willie. Sick and ill in 1862. Mary Todd is right there by Willie as Abraham looks on at his sick child. Willie Pass, February 20th, 1862. Mary Todd mourning Willie's passing. White House kitchen.
I keep my mouth closed and my ears open, and I hear a lot of things in this house. And I hear that old Abe is getting set to issue a proclamation setting the slaves free. All 4 million.
Now, where did you ever hear such a thing?
Mr. Seward whispered it to Mr. Nicolay, but I heard it just the same. Emancipation. Freedom. Oh, Mr. Lincoln's gonna set our brothers and sisters free. He doesn't even need Congress. He's gonna issue a proclamation.
Pay no attention to what you hear in this house. Believe what they do, not what they say. Ain't no way any white president is gonna set black folk free. Nowhere, no how.
Seems to me, Mr. Lincoln needs black men in the Union Army to win this war.
President Lincoln and his War Department discussing matters of the Civil War. So President Lincoln. Secretary of State William Seward. Secretary of the Treasury Salmon P. Chase. Attorney General Edward Bates. Secretary of the Interior Caleb Smith. Postmaster General Montgomery Blair. Secretary of the Navy Gideon Wells. And finally, Secretary of War Edwin Stanton. So look at war maps. There's Kentucky, South Carolina, and the South. Right here we have people talking about how the Emancipation Proclamation isn't very good.
The sooner you act on emancipation, the sooner the malignant Southern traitors who seek to divide and destroy this country can themselves be destroyed. You do not go far enough, Mr. President. And now is not the time for pause or hesitation.
Practices more shocking, bloody, and the people of the United States this very hour. Now, in this document, you can begin to put it right.
Mr. President, until the moment this evil cancer store of union still exists. Touch that parchment, you'll be signing the death warrant of your beloved.
Slavery is
Full Emancipation Proclamation. We have a painting of the 54th Massachusetts from the movie Glory, Matthew Broderick and Denzel Washington, and their assault on Fort Wagner in South Carolina. We have a war map playing that shows all the casualties during the Civil War. Let's watch. Through the first 2 years of the war, we're already over 400,000 casualties. Alright, so we're already over 700,000 casualties, just a little over 2 years. Over 900,000 casualties. Hasn't been 3 years yet. Over 1 million at this point. Lincoln reelected. surrenders, but as you notice, the war continues to go. So finally, in July 1865, we have 1.3 million casualties during the Civil War. So that was the Civil War in full. The interactive Civil War gallery. You go to the monitors below. Tells you about the pictures. Alright, so we'll click on one. We'll just pick one. Alright, this is when President Lincoln visited General McClellan in the final 2 weeks of the United States' nominal victory at Antietam. McClellan had refused to pursue Lee's army, and Lincoln replaced him a month after this photo was taken. Alright, so that's just one photo. There's Lincoln and McClellan's in there somewhere. So there's Lincoln throughout the years of his presidency. Notice how young he looks there in 1860. 1861, he's starting to look old. 1863, really starting to look old. By the time 1865 hits, the guy that from 1860 doesn't exist anymore. A sculpted mask taken of Lincoln in 1860. Castings were made by well-known sculptor Leonard Wells Volk in 1860 after Lincoln's nomination for the presidency. They show a vibrant and strong character eager to accept the challenge of the president. So I'm going to touch this one because it allows me to touch it. I can tell how young Lincoln is here. All right. Go over to 1865. All right. The casting of Lincoln's face was made by Clark Mills a few months before Lincoln's assassination. You can now see how tired and aged Lincoln has become after the years of conflict. This was described as a death mask by Mills and other sculptors. They say he's already dead at this point. And they have etched the year 1865 on top. So Lincoln's death mask. There's Lincoln at the War Department Telegraph Office. That's where we would hear the news about everything that happened during the war. Here is a depiction of Gettysburg. This is Gettysburg. This is where Lincoln gives the Gettysburg Address. And along the wall up there has the whole entire Gettysburg Address. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon the continent a new nation. Gettysburg. Gettysburg took place in July 1863. We get there to the Gettysburg Address. So now we're walking in the part where it says 1864 to 1865, the tide turns. Lincoln is reelected, the war ends. God grant victory. So right here we saw these different paintings depicting everything that happened. So Lincoln reelected 1864, celebration, jubilation. Moving forward with the 13th Amendment in January 1865. Lincoln's second inaugural address. Notice how it's cloudy. And the light shines upon Lincoln as he's standing there giving his address. Okay? It's cloudy, but there's still light on the president. So the fall of Richmond. Lincoln visits Richmond. Richmond, of course, was the capital of the Confederacy, where President Jefferson Davis and the rest of the Confederate cabinet resided. Richmond falls in April 1865. On April 8th, 1865, Lincoln visits the South and asks the band president to play Dixie for him so the country can start healing once again. This is my favorite painting in the gallery. Extra time here. Alright, so Lee surrenders at Appomattox Courthouse. There he is talking to General Grant. Alright, so Lee surrenders. Then Lincoln receives the news of Lee's surrender. And this would just be days before his assassination at the hands of John Wilkes Booth. Alright, there's Stanton, some of the members of his cabinet, as Lincoln reads the news of surrender. Of course, as we just saw, the war was not over there. So we've got Lincoln giving his last speech here, standing up there in the window. As we can see, we see John Wilkes Booth down here in the bottom left. Who knows if he was actually there or not? There he is. Alright, Lincoln discusses the future of the Union. There's Booth. Alright, so there's a celebration for Union victory. In Washington, D.C., we see the people rejoicing. We see fireworks. But how long will this last? Not many days. Not many days. Alright, so here we are at Ford's Theater. It's Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Alright, we have Booth. Booth is getting ready to portray a heinous act on President Lincoln and the people of the United States of America. So we go around the corner. There's President Lincoln and Mary Todd.
Getting there? Yes. Then I see the smoke coming from the chimney. Then men and boys working in the fields. Yes. And then at night, come home.
Lincoln's last words.
That's so. Then how many glasses and glasses bustle about the fire blazes on the hearth by your good old. Yes.
So on April 14th, 1865, Booth shoots Lincoln. Lincoln passes away the next morning. Lincoln had passed away. Edwin Stanton whispered, "Now he belongs to the ages."
Have a backwoods life already?
We're rounding the corner. News of Lincoln's assassination. The president is dead. Abraham Lincoln died this morning at 22 minutes after 7 o'clock, April 15th, 1865. This is Lincoln's trip home. More people actually saw the president dead than alive because of the train trip from Washington, D.C. to Springfield, Illinois. Let's look at the funeral train and the wide range it took. Went from Washington, D.C. up through New York, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. It's went a lot of places. Now we're going to look, this last part, and I'm not going to say anything. If you stayed through this long video, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this walk through the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum. Mm-hmm.